Get ready to drop the puck, take a free throw, and step up to the plate. It's time for the Metro East Sports Podcast on lineupmedia.fm.
Before we start talking Lancer football, Belleville East Lancer football, I got to talk about my friends at Cassens Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Thanks to partner Cassens Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, the number one place to purchase a vehicle in the Metro East. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned car, check out Cassens Inventory in person where they've been for 25 years or online at cassens.com. Cassens has earned the highest ratings for customer service. Their expert staff is committed to making your car buying experience enjoyable, including convenient on-site financing. I've purchased 4 vehicles there. My daughter drives an IU red Jeep Cherokee, and my wife and I are on our second Jeep Grand Cherokee. With over 80 years of experience in the Metro East, Cassens is the clear-cut leader for quality, service, and customer satisfaction. Go see Steve, Cliff, Holly, Greg, Bob, Mike, Tony, or Trent today. You will not be disappointed. They've got an energetic staff there at Cassens, and I would describe the young coach directly across from me as an energetic football coach. Welcome back to the show, Michael Harrison Jr. from Belleville East.
Thanks. I appreciate you throwing that young in there. That's nice of you.
Well,
appreciate that.
You know what? Maybe you're not that young anymore, but I'm so old that almost everybody seems young to me. And you brought your star nose tackle and left guard, one of the guys doing the dirty work up front every day, every play. Welcome to the show, Chris Mueller.
Thank you.
So you guys had a tough practice today. It's still kind of hot out there, huh?
Yeah, today was one of the cooler ones. So the guys got after it today, and they worked their butt off, and even got out of a little bit of conditioning today. So it was a good hard practice. Again, we're a weekend now, and it was good to let those guys get back into it after a day or two off. So,
and I tell you what, compared to the heat we had last week.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, but that's football season. It's like the first day of football season. It's automatically, a million degrees outside.
It starts when it's hot.
It wouldn't be fall football if it wasn't hot outside.
But Chris loves it when it's super hot out there. He gets to put all those pads on and that helmet out there. How about that heat, Chris? You love it?
Taking them pads off after 100 degrees, 111 heat index. That was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday last week. That felt great.
Last week was terrible. Last week, our football guys were not allowed to get out at Edwardsville High School last week. They had to be in the gym, and I would assume that you guys probably had to spend some days.
We were the same way. The magnificent mind of Coach Harrison decided to practice at the hottest time of the day, so we got canceled and pushed back, 2 or 3 days last week. We had to go inside. We moved practice back so we could get it later in the evening, but
it's tough to move times on people because they plan at a certain time.
Well, and that's the other piece. As a head coach, you're thinking, hey, let me make this as easy as possible. We get out of school at 3:30. Let's just say, hey, we're going to practice at 3:30 no matter what. As soon as you do that, one thing changes. The weather's too hot, and all of a sudden, you're scrambling at the last minute trying to get parents to arrange rides and things like that. And so, it's one of those things that you deal with. That's one of the challenges that I talk about all the time that's unique to football, where you're dealing with 100 football players. It's not 15 basketball players or 5 golfers that you're trying to get on the same page. It's 100 football kids, and different than college level at high school, most of them aren't driving. Most of them have to figure out a ride to get there. And so those are things that you challenge, but I mean, just like everybody else, you try your best and try to get everybody on the same page, and we have great parents, so I try to communicate with them as much and as often as possible. And when things like that happen, you just kind of have to roll with the punches.
How are the numbers this year for you?
Our numbers are down a little bit, but I think that's everywhere. I think that's football nationwide. You add into the fact that we're coming off of the pandemic, but we're at 100 plus, which is good. And it's spread throughout all really 4 classes, but all 3 levels. So we'll be able to fill three teams, 3 levels. I know everybody in the conference, we're kind of going back and forth figuring out what that underclass is going to look like at each with each opponent, but at least at East, our numbers are strong right now.
How you feeling right now, Chris?
About our numbers.
Just about the season in general.
I think we'll be solid.
Yeah. You want Coach to run the rock this year? Is that? I feel like that's every offensive lineman's dream. Is like, Coach, can we please run the wall
so we can
Wildcat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish, but that is not going to happen.
Have you ever asked Coach to consider putting you in as a fullback,
Oh, yeah,
giving
of
you
course.
and Coach?
He asked me to consider it, and I did for a really short period of time.
Solid
And then
10 seconds, I gotta know.
and then we got back to doing what we're gonna do.
I think it takes a certain kind of kid to enjoy playing up there on the line, to enjoy being the run stopper up there as nose tackle. Is this something you love to do, Chris?
I've done it since I was 6. I gotta say, yeah.
So football is a part of your blood. You've been playing that long?
Yeah. What is that, like
Yeah.
15 to 12 years?
Yeah, it depends on how old you are. I could do the math pretty
17.
quick, but I'm gonna let you try to
11.
figure it.
11 and a half.
So you've been playing football for a long time. Do you play any other sports?
I picked up wrestling when I was like 12 in 7th grade, but I like football a whole lot more.
But I think that connection is
Oh, yeah.
obvious. I think
those sports go hand in hand.
yeah, all the hand fighting is associated.
especially in the trenches. I think you look around the state, you look around the nation. The teams that are solid up front have kids that also wrestle. Yeah.
And I think if you look at those teams, those college teams, there's multiple teams in the Big Ten,
No doubt.
that are famous for going after those great high school wrestlers and turning them into football players.
Well, and it's funny in the whatever it is, current time, modern age of kids picking one sport so early. When you go and talk to college coaches, regardless of the sport, the first thing they ask you is, hey, does he play another sport? What other activities are you involved in? Because there is so much crossover. There is so much relationship between not just football and wrestling, but football and baseball. You stick a kid out in center field and see if he can catch a fly ball. I guarantee he can then go on the football field and catch that punt. And so it is unique, and that's a message that we're trying to spread. I think coaches all around the country are trying to spread that same message. Play as many sports as you can. Do a lot of activities, and there'll be a time when you have to select. But trying to decide who's going to be the best basketball player when you're in the 3rd grade and kids haven't even hit their growth spurt yet doesn't make a lot of sense.
Or signing a contract
Yeah,
to play one sport exclusively when you're in 7th grade.
it's just crazy.
That's a recipe for burnout.
100%.
Unless you are really in the top 0.01% in the world, and you really are going to make a living at this, and even still,
Well, and how do you know that when you're in the 7th grade?
I think LeBron had a pretty good idea he was going to make a.
Well,
but again, are you LeBron?
Are you LeBron? Can you
Yeah.
shoot it like Steph? That's mine. That's what I say all the time. I'm like, hey, if you aren't 6'5", you better be able to shoot it like Steph, and not many people can.
Let's talk about the team this year. Who's returning?
So we got honestly a solid group of kids that are returning. I'll start on defense side of the ball. We returned both outside linebackers in Jaden Howard and Theo Millis. Both were 2nd and 3rd on the team in tackles. Inside, our backup middle linebacker will have to step up. Demarius Jones, he'll step up into the starting role in the inside. On the defensive line, return both defensive ends. O.J. Mosley and Anthony Cunningham will really depend on those guys a bunch up front. Again, Chris is moving over, going to help us out on the defensive line as well. And then we got a bunch of competition there as well. In the back end, Dorian Foster played a bunch at corner, and we'll really lean on him a bunch. He's one of our seniors there. And then we got some young guys that are fighting in the rest of the secondary. On the offensive side of the ball, Kennedy Geddes is returning for us on the offensive line along with Chris. And then we have a bunch of guys that are filling in that played a little bit of varsity football, but this will be their first time as starters. In our receiver core, we got a number of seniors that are fighting and filing for time. And then in the back end at running back, Luke Freppen came in for us in a backup role last year. we'll lean on him early as a starter at running back, and then there's a little bit of competition everywhere else.
You got a lot of guys returning, especially on defense, it sounds like.
A good number. As a coach, you kind of always play that close to the vest. I mean, I wish we had 11 returning, right? We don't get 11 returning, but a bunch of guys that have had some varsity experience. So now a lot of them are going, where they maybe weren't an every down starter or every game starter. Now we're going to be leaning on them as seniors to start and play a much bigger role. But it is nice to have some guys that have played a little bit before.
Chris, I got to think after the last 2 years of COVID and playing a spring football season with all the weirdness that was associated with that, and then not getting a football season the year before, do you have a special level of appreciation just by being out there every day? Yeah, you're hot. Yeah, you're miserable. Yeah, you're smacking heads with other guys, but doesn't it feel good just to be out there?
Oh, it feels wonderful. So end of my sophomore year is when COVID started, and end of my football season, sophomore year, I broke my leg. So coming back the spring season that we had this past spring, it felt wonderful to get out. The weather was beautiful. Almost every day was 65 degrees. Felt awesome. And now we're back here with a full regular season. It feels amazing. And I have a certain level of appreciation for the sport that I don't think many other people do.
How'd you break your leg? Playing football? You don't want to
tell this. Yeah. How'd you break your leg, Chris?
All right, let's tell this story. All right, so JV game. We are warming up for Collinsville, week 9. I'm hype. I'm the hype man. I'm running around, jumping around. We do our jumping jacks, and I go up with our 6'3", 300-pound other lineman we had. I jump up, just absolutely crazy. I come down, my leg.
Wait, you said in
pregame.
Warm-ups? You
In
did say in
warm-up.
pregame, right? It wasn't in the game.
Wasn't in the game.
Oh my
That was a
gosh.
trip.
So you knew it was broken right away.
I think I did. No disrespect to that Collinsville trainer they had, their athletic trainer, but
Yeah.
I don't think he knew what happened.
Okay,
He was in
well,
it.
he was probably in shock because you probably thought
pregame.
you did a jumping jack.
Yeah, you
in
did
the
a jumping
pregame.
jack.
I went up for a
Little high five,
came
chest
down.
bump in
Chest bump.
pregame.
Yeah.
Normally people.
You
don't
can't
break their
blame the
leg doing that.
Collinsville
No,
trainer
not
for
at
that.
all. Normally people don't break their leg that way.
Well, I'm glad you're off to a healthy start this year. So far, you're feeling good, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. Speaking of feeling good, Andy Callaway of Callaway Home Loans will make you feel good. Because why? Because he's going to save you money every single month. He refinanced my existing mortgage, and he can do the same for you. Rates are incredibly low. Last time I checked, they were way down there, and they're still way down there, and you want to take advantage of an easy, fast, and affordable way to refinance. They do conventional, FHA, and VA loans, and ask for the MESP special. If you refinance with Andy, he'll donate $100 to the Metro East High School or junior high team or general athletic fund of your choice. Refinance, he'll give $100 to the Lancer football team.
That's right.
He'll give $100 to the Lancer tennis team and Coach Scare, Coach Peters. He'll give $100 to the O'Fallon football team, Coach Geddes. $100 to East St. Louis, Coach Sunkett. You tell him where to give the money, and he'll give it. Call Andy today at 618-830-3332. Save money and support your favorite team in the Metro East. All right. Speaking of the Metro East, who's your favorite to win the conference? Who's good this year? I'm looking at your schedule, and your schedule is a bear. Your schedule is loaded.
Yeah.
Matea Valley's not going to be easy.
Nope.
That's going to be that's a good for you for a schedule in that game. That's going to be tough. You got East St. Louis, you got O'Fallon, you got Edwardsville, you got West.
Yeah.
Alton.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a tough schedule.
Well, and I'll stand on the table and put the Southwestern Conference up with anybody in the state. Any other conference, top to bottom in the state, year in and year out, week to week. East St. Louis, Edwardsville, like you said, O'Fallon, West, East St. Louis. I mean, these are playoff teams every year. And so there is no easy week. There is no throwaway game. We better be ready to go, or any Friday night, anybody can beat you. And I think it's going to be another year like that. I think East St. Louis is loaded again, right? That's no secret about that.
When have they not been? In the last 20 years, like I can't
20
remember.
years, 30
in the last,
years?
the last
Yeah,
50 years.
I mean, they have down years, but again, man, they're good again, and then it's no secret they're going to be a handful.
I think their down years though are only down years compared to them.
Oh, 100%.
Right? I mean, you want to say they're down some year. I mean, you're just comparing them to themselves.
Yeah,
really. So
100%. And Coach Sunkett does a great job down there.
Does.
They have, they obviously have talented guys. And they're a school that, has built that tradition. Football is important. Athletics are important, and you can see it, and so, I think everybody's chasing them a little bit, especially, and, speaking specifically about football, everybody's chasing them a little bit. Like you said, even when they're down, you're going to have your hands full with that game. So, again, I think Edwardsville, is obviously going to be good again. They're always a favorite in the conference. And then O'Fallon is coming off really some great year, and they got East St. Louis last year. So, again, I can imagine what that looks like on both of those guys' schedules. So, again, we got some work cut out for us, no doubt. Looking at that non-conference schedule, we always try to schedule a non-conference schedule to get us ready for playoffs. That's normally our goal, and we feel like if we can win some non-conference games, we can win some conference games, then we'll have a chance and we'll be ready for the playoffs. And that's kind of how we look at it. So.
That's what you talked about last time you were here. You talked about building the culture at East and getting kids to buy in that, like, yeah, we're in a tough conference, but we belong in this conference and we're going to compete in this conference. Is that the vibe you're feeling right now, Chris?
100%.
Coaches getting the buy-in from the players?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak for them, but like we had our senior meeting at the beginning of the year, right? And these seniors, every year they kind of come up with the motto, and these guys talked about what'd you guys talk about, Chris?
So our first goal is come out the gate swing and beat Collinsville. Our second goal is to have a winning season. Our third goal is to have a shirt that says Lancer playoffs. Make it to the playoffs.
Right.
Good for you. Because you got a tough one. Collinsville is when you open up on Friday, August 27th, and that game is at Collinsville. I can't tell here from the schedule.
That's at our place, I believe. Yeah, 7 o'clock at our place.
Okay, 7 o'clock at your place.
Yeah.
You're gonna run out there under those lights, and you're gonna be amped.
Yeah, it'll feel like all is right in the world again.
Yeah, but do me a favor when you're celebrating pregame. Let's tone it down. Let's tone it down just a tad, so that we're not having to talk to the.
That's right. He knows pregame. He gets to come and stand by me, so he knows the deal.
So why is Chris one of your team captains, Coach?
Well, and I I don't even think I shared that with the team. Chris was the leading vote getter amongst the players. So the players vote for the captains, the juniors and seniors, upperclassmen. They vote for anybody on the team. But he was the leading vote getter by far, and I think the real reason is because the players know, right, and regardless of what they say, they know which guy is most committed, which guy is walks the walk, which guys puts the work in, and from day one that I've been on campus. Chris has been bought in. Chris is one of those guys. He's the first one to the workouts. Never misses. When it's time to rally the troops, when it's time to go to battle, Chris is right there, and the guys know that they can count on him. And that's what wins football games. Yeah. Right. The plays. Again, us coaches, we all talk at the end of the year. Hey, how'd you run that play? It isn't the play. You know what I mean? It's all about the kids and the trust. And the belief that the guys have in one another, and when it's time to vote for captains, the guys know who they want to be in the foxhole with, and Chris is one of those guys.
Chris, how does that make you feel to hear Coach say that you were the leading vote getter for the captaincy for the Lancers this year?
Makes me feel pretty special. I don't think of myself as that. I just kind of like do what I'm told to do all the time. Like you said, I never missed one workout. I might have been late, but the one time I was late is because I was stopped by a train and I had 3 other dudes in the car and we made an excuse. But I mean, I just try my best all the time. So,
Are you a football guy? Do you just love football? You seem like you just love it.
I love it so much.
What do you love about it?
When I was younger, I would say I feel like I had anger issues, but I like never went to a therapist or nothing. So I felt like putting on a helmet and shoulder pads, just being able to hit somebody as hard as I could was the part I love about it. But now I have like a certain like emotional connection. I'm not gonna lie, I cry when I cry when the emotions run so much. Like when the seniors left, I got real emotional. I don't cry when we lose, but like
I get it.
losing is part of the game. That just builds character, if you ask me.
What about next year for you, Chris? After your football time at Belleville East, are you done, or do you have aspirations for continuing to play?
I would love to go play. I have no real idea on where I want to go. I'll go wherever wants me and wherever I'll get to play, and wherever a coach will be like, hey, you want to play? And I'll be like, yeah.
You recommending this guy to some college coaches?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it was funny. We were talking on the ride up about, college plans and some of the schools that Chris has either visited or looking at. And Chris has done and again, another reason he's a captain, Chris has done an awesome job in the classroom of putting himself in position where he's going to have some options. He's done his homework, if that makes sense. And again, he's a kid that's a hard worker. He takes care of business. So, a senior captain that you can count on, regardless of height, weight, stature, all of that stuff. College coaches are going to look for that, and so he's gonna have some options about playing when that time comes.
I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and say this guy here would be a hell of a coach.
Absolutely,
Do you
absolutely. Oh, without question. Again, he's one of those guys. And you have him in every sport at every level. He's one of those guys as coaches that you never worry about. You know what I mean? You get on him, and I'm not saying he doesn't make mistakes. He makes mistakes, and we tell him that. But you never worry about his effort. You never worry about if he's going to be doing the right thing. You never worry about if you can count on him or not. And those kind of guys, when you have those kind of guys in leadership roles, and they're good football players, is when you have a good football team. And I think that's what we have, not only in Chris, but I think that's what we got going on at Belleville East right now.
That's awesome. Could you put your finger on where you learned that reliability, that work ethic, that desire to play football? You talked about the fact that you just liked hitting people, and I get that from a lot of football kids.
Yeah.
I think football is a healthy way for some young men to
get it out.
Yeah, to get it out, to play.
Yeah.
And I think it helps them. But is there someone in your family or when you were a kid, did you have a coach when you were younger that taught you, like, look, Chris, you show up and you show up on time?
One Little League coach I had throughout my whole life was Bob Bergman, and like that was a dude that was there from day one, from when I was 6 to
Football
14.
or Little League baseball?
Little League football.
Okay.
He was the guy that was like, you keep this effort up, you're gonna go places, And I kind of got that from all my coaches, even pretty much all of them. Dave Barnes is another one. Roland Fricky, Coach Roland. Love all those guys. Those are like the guys that kind of like paved my mentality to get stuff done when I was younger, because they just encouraged me to keep going and going and going and not stop, pretty much.
And he's being nice, because I know mom and dad don't mess around either. Mom and dad, they've taught him some good stuff, so they do an awesome job. Chris is an awesome young man. So
that's great. How about the staff this year, Coach? You got some good coaches on staff this year helping you out there with the Lancers. I feel like you cannot coach football by yourself. Tennis I could probably, like you said, it's a small staff, but when you got 100 people, you got to have a good staff. How's your staff this year?
Good. We got an awesome staff. A lot of guys that have come back that have been with me for a couple years. Coach Funk, Coach Blomberg have been at Belleville East, I think, since not gonna like me, since they've been Belleville East, right?
No way.
No, those guys are Lancers through and through. So those guys still helping me out. Coach Strasbaugh, Coach Schaub, Coach Hydorn, Jason Ford, Justin Washington. Then we got a couple of new guys on the staff as well. Coach Fair, Coach Southworth. They do an awesome job. So we got a great staff. Again, there's myself, but I couldn't do it without those guys. I hope I didn't leave anybody off when I went down that list. But Coach Zergel, I left Zergel off. Yeah, those honestly, I'm the head coach, but those guys carry us. Those guys do all the work.
What's your role during the games? Are you calling the defense, the offense, all of it, special teams? What are you calling?
This will be the first year that I am not calling the defense. Coach Zergel is going to take over as the defensive coordinator, and so I'll be able to stick my head in a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball as well. And then Coach Ball.
But you're not calling the plays?
But I'm not calling the plays. This will be my first year not calling the plays. So.
It's going to be an interesting year for sure. Chris, what's your favorite play to run before you get out of here?
Offense?
Yeah, what's the one play like when that play is called, you're like you just smile because you know you're just going to get off the ball. Tell me that play. What's it called?
Counter to the right.
Counter right.
Counter to the right.
Counter to the right. That's what you like. Are you pulling around there, or are you just going straight off and blasting off the ball?
I'm pulling. I'm kicking out. First play against Eastside last year, I had a backer come off the edge, just whacked him.
Straight through.
First play was a highlight.
So that's your play, counter right.
Counter right.
Love it. I'm going to come out and watch you play. I can't wait to watch you play. I think you're going to be a wild animal on the defensive side of the ball, and I think you're going to be a road grader on the offensive side of the ball, creating holes for the running backs and the quarterback.
That'll be awesome. That'd be awesome.
And how about what's the team going to look like this year? Are we gonna play the same type of, I'm not asking you to give away your secrets, but are we going to play the same style that we've played in the last couple of years? Or?
Yeah, we'll still be balanced. We try our best to be balanced. On the offensive side of the ball, we got to be able to run the ball. Again, in football, to me, it's still all about the trenches. And we can be as fancy and as cute and as pretty as you want to out on the edge, but if you can't run the ball when you need to run it, and if you can't stop them from running the ball, then it's going to be a long day. And so we'll be similar to what we've done in the past, but we got to be able to run the ball when we need to, and we got to be able to do that a little bit better than we've done in the past.
I think you're in for a lot of tough competition this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. I think that conference is crazy. There's crazy parity across the board, like you said, O'Fallon, West, East St. Louis,
all across the board. It's again every week you better buckle up your chin strap, as the coaches say, because if you take a play off, you take a snap off, you take a week off, the other team will bite you.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming by. I appreciate both of you very much. I'm looking forward to the Lancers. Give me one of these before we get out of there. Right up there.
Gotcha.
All right. As always, the guests make the show here on the Metro Esports Podcast. A big thanks, Chad Opel, Lindsey Ratliff, and Zach Plocker from Roxana Tennis. Chad Opel, of course, from front office management. Chris Mueller, right here, the man in the trenches for the Lancers. And Michael Harrison Jr., the guy out in front, the head coach for the Belleville East football team. And for partners, Callaway Home Loans, Cassens, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Keller Williams Marquee, Jeb and Ginger Blasting Game, and Integrity Spine and Joint Center. Our producers, Brian Crock and Everett Hicks, and our intern at Zoogie J. Thank you for listening to the Metro Esports Podcast, talking all things sports in the Metro East.